The royal courtyard is a majestic space where royal guards stand tall, without any sign of them ever moving from their positions. Their shiny horses stand right beside them, with the horses always watching the movements around them with great vigilance. Even though they have been standing still for hours, each royal guard has a cold expression, almost like a machine rather than a human. When someone steps into their space without respect, there will be serious consequences. In the crowd waiting to take pictures with the royal guards, there's a man who doesn't fully understand the severity of this place. He's a middle-aged man in a neat black suit, with bright eyes and a confident smile. He thinks that just stepping closer and touching their horse is enough. He doesn't realize that he's about to cross a line that no one should. As everyone maintains their distance, this man, without malicious intent, doesn't understand that his curiosity will cause an event he'll never forget. He steps closer to the horse, hand reaching out slightly. The gazes of the onlookers begin to follow, but he doesn't notice the invisible warning the atmosphere is giving. His hand stops, almost touching the horse's mane, and in that instant, the royal guard moves suddenly. A cold chill seems to envelop the space, as if everything has stopped. He realizes he has gone too far, but when he turns around, he sees a royal guard standing firmly in front of him, with a cold, unwavering stare. "Stop right there," the guard's voice echoes, with no expression. This is the final boundary. The man is somewhat confused. He doesn't understand why his small action has caused such a strong reaction. But once he sees the severity in the guard's eyes, guilt begins to rise within him. He steps back, shrugging in reluctance, and realizes that this guard's patience, though not easily seen, is an integral part of their job. Royal guards are not ordinary soldiers. They are unlike police officers or soldiers who protect other places. Each royal guard is trained strictly, not just in martial arts but also in discipline and endurance. They have a sacred duty to protect the royal family and the values they represent. They must be patient, resolute, and always prepared for any situation. These individuals cannot show emotions. They must be warriors who remain steadfast at all times. The rules they follow are not just work rules, but also rules about respect and silence. These guards are trained to face anyone and any situation without being disturbed. They cannot leave their post during their watch, nor can they react to taunts or provocations from visitors. A small mistake can result in severe punishment or even jeopardize the safety of the royal family. Under their sharp gazes, nothing can distract them. Even a small movement of the hand or a disrespectful glance can make them act immediately. It's part of the job with no other choice. Meanwhile, the tourists who come to visit don't understand this. To them, the guards are just motionless statues, not people protecting the royal family with full dedication. They don't realize that when facing these guards, they are up against strict rules and discipline that only respect can help them exist in this space. Among the tourists, some can't contain their curiosity. A man, around 30 years old, with a cocky expression and confident walk, approaches one of the royal guards. He looks around to make sure no one is paying too much attention, then begins teasing the guard with meaningless remarks. He stands face to face with the guard, smiling as if he's testing the guard's patience. "Hello," he says with a smug smile. "You look like a living statue. Are you tired?" The royal guard doesn't change his posture or react. He remains still, his gaze fixed on one point. But the tourist doesn't understand this. He continues speaking, throwing more teasing comments. The people around start to notice, and the atmosphere becomes tense. Suddenly, the royal guard turns, his sharp eyes glancing over at the man. A moment of silence stretches, freezing the area. Before the man even realizes what's happening, the royal guard commands, "Stop immediately. This is the final boundary." The words hit him like a bolt of lightning, making him step back immediately. Guilt rises within him as he realizes his mistake. But for the royal guard, this is just part of the job. They don't show emotion in such situations. As the man retreats, he realizes that a small mistake could result in consequences that no one could have imagined. Despite being reprimanded, the man refuses to step back. He feels insulted and is determined to challenge the royal guard again. He decides to block the guard's path as if he wants to prove that he can do what others wouldn't dare try. His pride and arrogance now overwhelm him. He stands in front of the guard, intentionally not stepping aside. "Go ahead. I'm not in the way," he says, his voice full of challenge. The royal guard doesn't respond. He remains still, unmoving. The man's eyes meet the guard's, but he finds no fear or emotion. The royal guard is not someone who can be easily subdued, and he knows that if he lets the man continue testing him, things will escalate beyond just a joke. After a moment of silence, the guard lowers his head without speaking, but he makes a firm movement toward the man. No more words are needed. His action is a stern warning. "Move aside now, or you'll face bigger trouble," the guard says coldly, but with authority. After the man is reprimanded, a female tourist, dressed in a delicate white dress, stands near one of the royal guard's horses. She has never encountered such a situation before, and out of curiosity, she reaches out to touch the horse's mane. She doesn't realize that this small action of hers can trigger a strong response from the royal guard. As her hand touches the horse, the guard turns around. He looks at her, his eyes devoid of emotion, only seriousness and decisiveness. "Stop!" His voice rings out coldly. The girl quickly pulls her hand back, realizing her mistake, but she can't deny the embarrassment she feels when she sees the guard's cold gaze. A sense of guilt fills her as she understands that her action wasn't just a small mistake, but an infringement on the guard's space. The man, although noticing the guard's immobility, doesn't give up. He continues to mimic voices from famous cartoon characters, from Homer Simpson to Krusty the Clown. Each line is delivered with confidence and a desire to create a humorous moment. But faced with the absolute silence of the guard, he begins to feel the failure rise within him. "You're one of the most famous guards. Surely you must have some sense of humor, right?" The man continues, his voice confident but a little hesitant. But the royal guard doesn't change his posture or move. He remains there, his gaze cold and fixed on one point. As the people around start to feel awkward for the man, the royal guard remains unmoving. For him, respect and discipline come first, and no joke can break his serious demeanor. "This is not funny," the guard's voice, cold and emotionless, rings out, making the man stop. He feels embarrassed, realizing that the guard's patience is unshakable, and not everyone can break them. His earlier confidence has vanished, leaving only a sense of shame. He lowers his head, realizing that his joke has not only failed to make the guard smile, but has also made him feel he committed a grave mistake. The people around start to recognize that, for guards like these, there is no room for humor or disrespect. They are the ones maintaining order and security for the royal family, and all they require is absolute respect from everyone around. After the tense moments, the story shifts to a more peaceful scene. A group of children, with admiration in their eyes, stand before the royal guards. Unlike the other tourists, they have no curiosity or desire to challenge. Instead, they stand there with respect, admiring the guards who protect the royal family. Their eyes are filled with admiration, and sometimes that admiration is stronger than any words or actions. One of the children, about 8 years old, with bright eyes, steps forward to the guard and says, "We love you. Thank you for protecting the royal family." His pure and sincere voice rings out like a warm wave amidst the tense atmosphere. The royal guard, though unable to smile or show emotion, transmits warmth through his actions. He bows his head to the child, a simple gesture, but one that is incredibly powerful. It's not a submission or weakness, but a clear recognition of the value of respect and discipline. The crowd around also senses the shift in the air. Those who had previously challenged the guards with jokes or provoking actions now realize that not every situation is about rigidity. The royal guards not only protect the royal family, but they also uphold values of respect toward everyone. For the first time in this story, a gentle light shines on the royal guards. It is the connection between the younger generation and the guardians, the respect for those who have sacrificed to maintain order in society. The final lesson from this story is that respect is not just a requirement in communication, but an essential part of building a peaceful society. The royal guards are symbols of resilience and discipline, and they don't need to show emotions to prove that. A look, a gesture, is enough for them to show severity and demand respect from others. But more importantly, we, as members of this society, must learn from their strictness and patience. A small action, whether accidental or intentional, can destroy everything we've built. Respect is not something we can choose at will. It's something we must uphold, not just with royal guards, but with everyone around us in our daily lives. And for those who challenge the royal guard in this story, they learn that when you step into a space where seriousness and discipline are paramount, you can't just stand outside and break everything. Respect is the only thing needed to maintain the noble values in this life. In the end, the middle-aged man, after witnessing the valuable lessons from the royal guards, understands that not everyone can stand above respect and discipline. He lowers his head, says nothing, and walks away from the royal courtyard, carrying a newfound awareness of the values he had misunderstood. He realizes that although he was just a tourist, his actions had broken an unspoken rule in this space. The crowd of tourists slowly disperses, each person carrying their own lessons from the situations that occurred. And the royal guards, after completing their duties, continue to stand firm, like unmovable protectors. They remain there, resilient and strict, demonstrating absolute respect for the rules and values they represent. Today's story is not just about the royal guards, but also a reminder to all of us about respect and discipline in every circumstance. Only when you know how to preserve and cherish the rules can you protect safety, peace, and the values we hold dear. If you found this story helpful and inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Heartfelt Moments 85 channel to not miss out on more amazing stories. We will always bring you heartwarming, profound, and meaningful stories from life. Leave your comments and share your experiences with us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.